so today we're going to do this New Year's Eve sparkle eye. You can also use this for a date night as well. We're going to start off cleansing the skin with a little Garnier cleansing wipe and then adding a little moisture back into the skin using a matte moisturizer since she does have some oily skin. Next, we're going to use an eye cream for her under eyes to make sure that they're nice and hydrated, especially in this Colorado weather. Then we're going to move on to priming the eyes. First we're going to use the anti-aging eye primer as the first base, and then we're going to go ahead and use the Tarte Shape Tape in light neutral to conceal any darkness, discoloration, or veins in her eyelids. We want to make sure that that concealer is then blended properly on her eyelid to make sure that it is a nice blank canvas, so we'll go ahead and blend that. And then we're going to go ahead and make sure that it's also not going to crease while she wears her eye makeup, so we'll set it as well with a translucent powder. I'm going to go ahead with the Tarte In Bloom palette today, using Sweetheart, putting that in the crease using windshield wiper motions and also circular motions to make sure it's blended properly. Then we'll go in with a nice medium brown called Rebel from the same palette and put that on the outer crease as well as the lower crease of her eye. Going back to that palette, we're now going to take a nice deep brown in the color Leader, and we're going to focus that on the outer eyelid. We're going to start at the lash line and then build upwards. I want this to be a little more smoky on the edge versus dark all the way around, so keeping that dark close to the eyelashes and then going in with a nice shimmer color from the Peach palette. Next, I'm going to take a cream eyeliner and go ahead and just define her lashes with this. I don't want it to be really thick eyeliner, just a nice little line. Then next, I wanted to add a little more sparkle to this look, so I took some of the Stila Magnificent Metals in Kitten Karma and added this to her eyelid over the top of the Peach palette color. And then going back to that Tarte palette, using Leader, going ahead and blending all the other shadows together with that glitter. We don't want it to be a harsh line between the glitter and the shadow, so using that color to blend it back together. Then taking another makeup wipe and cleaning up the excess under her eyes to make sure that she doesn't have any fallout. We're going to use Makeup Forever Ultra HD today, and I'm using this color in Y305. It's a nice yellow color to kind of match what she had on her skin. It looks like a little bit of a spray tan, so this is a perfect color for that. I'm using a beauty blender to blend that out to make sure that it melts right into her skin. Now moving on to concealer, I am using Tarte Shape Tape in the color Light Neutral. This is perfect for canceling out any darkness that she has and also brightening up the center of her face. Brie really loves a nice full coverage yet glammy look, so this is perfect for her. Next, using a beauty blender, going ahead and blending that out. I really like using a beauty blender with this concealer because it does set really fast, so you have to act fast. And so the beauty blender usually does the trick for that. And then next we're going to take a little bit more of that concealer and add it to the little front of her cheek. I just noticed that it wasn't as bright there as I wanted, so I just added just a touch more to really brighten up that area. Especially if she's going out, you want to make sure that she looks as glammy as she would like. I really like to start with a little bit of a cream something on the cheeks, whether it's bronzer or blush. So I'm using a bronzer today, just kind of adding it a little bit on her cheeks. Nothing to contour because I don't really believe in contouring, more just chiseling her cheeks. So taking that color and blending it out, and then also going into the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder and setting her under eyes to make sure that they don't crease throughout the night. And then also taking another Laura Mercier powder and using translucent to set the rest of her face. Then we're going to go into Too Faced Soleil bronzer in medium deep and just add just a touch on the top of her forehead because she has a really small forehead. We don't really want to do anything crazy. And then using it on her cheeks to deepen that other bronzer color. Now going into blush, I am adding just a touch of color of Peaches from MAC. Later on, I did end up going back and adding just a little bit more of Peaches and also adding in Springsheen from MAC as well. Moving on to eyebrows, I am using a Brow Wiz in medium brown to go ahead and just feather into her eyebrows. Brie doesn't have a whole lot of thick brow hair, so I just wanted to give it a nice feathery look. And I'm using the pencil to start out with, and then I'm going to go in with a powder. The pencil lets the powder sit a little bit better on the skin. It gives it a nice tacky texture to add. So then going in with the powder, it sticks a little bit better, especially on those outer edges where that can sometimes tend to wear a little bit more. I'm making sure that throughout the time that I'm doing her eyebrows, I am going back with that spoolie and just blending through her eyebrows. I don't want it to look like she has Sharpie on her brows because that's not very flattering. We're using a nice medium to heavy hand on the outer edge and then more of a soft hand towards the front of her brow. I don't want it to be ombre, but I sure don't want it to be super dark, especially because her eyebrows are beautiful as they are. Next, we're going back into the Tarte In Bloom palette and using that to just drag along the lower lash line. You can go ahead and be a little more dramatic with this, especially if you're going out at night, but we did film this during the day, so I didn't want to go too crazy with her. If I were to do this truly at night for her, I would maybe put a little bit of eyeliner in her waterline and then also buff that out onto her lower lash line. But for this look, we just used those same dark and medium brown just to drag along the lash line to give her a nice little definition for photos later. And then next up, we're going to highlight her brow bone and also her inner tear duct. I am using Becca Opal, and I really love this color. I think it's beautiful for the eyes. And then I am using a different one for her face later on, but they complement each other really well. We're going to go in for lips. We're going to use MAC Whirl and MAC Velvet Teddy to define her lips today. I didn't want anything super bright on her lips. I kind of wanted to keep it a little more neutral, and these are the perfect colors for that. I'm now going in and just spritzing her with a little bit of NYX Cosmetics Matte Finish spray just to make it a little tacky for when we do go in with the highlighter so that the highlighter isn't sitting on the skin, it's more melting into the skin. Here we're using Champagne Pop just to kind of add a little bit of highlight to her cheekbones, nothing crazy. I'm not really a big fan of really intense highlighter on the cheeks. And then I did go in with a beauty blender to kind of blend that in. We ended up deciding that we did want to put a little gloss on her lips, so we added a little lip gloss from MAC onto her lips just because her lips were a little bit dry. Colorado can definitely do that to you. And then finally, we did go back and add just a touch more blush. I added a little more of Peaches and Springsheen. And this is the end of our video, babes. Thank you so much for watching. If you want any more videos like this, just give this a thumbs up, and then if you have any requests, go ahead and put them in the comment box below. Love you! Have fun on New Year's and be safe!